Hi, it's Dalen, and welcome back to Book Club. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. Last meeting, we discussed the overall structure of this new book club series, and then we dove straight into the first 12 chapters and/or Act 1 of The Long Game by Rachel Reed. I am trying out a bit of a new format this time around. Hopefully it makes everything feel smoother and maybe cuts down the video time a little bit, but I don't know. So much happened in these chapters that I don't know if I can stop myself from yapping about it, which is the point. We don't want to diminish anything that we have to discuss. These chapters put me through the trenches, bro. Wrung me out and hang me to dry, and this is fresh off the press, dude. Like, I finished all of my reading last night, the night before I'm recording this, so this is piping hot on my mind right now. And shit goes crazy, as you know. And I cannot wait for us to discuss this because, oh my god, I literally recorded, one, I shed my first tears of this book during these chapters, and two, I recorded real-time clips of me reacting to some of the things that happened because it was just so shell-shocking to me and so, like, absolutely insane that I needed to record how I felt in that moment. So I'll insert those clips once we get there. I'm gonna read a quick summary of what we went over last meeting. That way we can all have a quick refresher of what happened, and then we'll continue into what we read this week. So last time, they're both deeply in love, but afraid of being outed now that they're officially a couple and living in Canada together. Shane's a free agent at the end of the season, which it kind of became a big theme in the entire book. Camp went well, however, Ryan Price caught them making out again. Ilya got jealous of that reporter. They went on a double date with Ryan and his boyfriend Fabian, who kind of helped them start questioning what the future of their relationship really looks like, as long as Shane's conversation with Rose. Chapter 7 was insane. We got a look inside of Ilya's head, which was not good. He's really struggling to get out of bed, feeling worthless, and hearing his dad's voice degrade him in his own head. The Hollander family, however, is a really great lifeline for him. We see a lot of cute scenes of how close they've become, which is really sweet. Major emphasis on Shane's complicated relationship with food. We have that cute fake wedding, and then we kind of end up on a bitter note at the end of our chapters with Shane trying to kind of comfort and probe Ilya on his mental state just a little bit, and Ilya completely shuts him down about it, which kind of leaves a sour taste in the mouth after it. But now I really do feel like after reading these chapters that Act 1 was the perfect stopping point for, like, the exposition of the book. Like, I really felt like that was all of the explanation we needed, and then now we really get into the meat and gore, which we really fucking did. Oh my god. I will be putting some quick bullet points. I don't know the mirror thing on the camera, so if they're either going to be on this side or this side, but I will be just putting some bullet point notes of what we read in the chapter. That way we don't have to sit here and discuss what we've already read, you know, since you've read the book, so we don't have to, like, what is it, like, I don't have to educate you on what happened, obviously. So just some bullet points on the side to make it easier for you to know where exactly we are as we discuss what's going on. All right, here we go. Chapter 13. JJ, when he's getting serious, talking to Shane in French strictly, really, like, warmed my heart. That's such a cute connection to have to someone, being able to speak, like, I don't know if we can consider, is French, like, his native language? Like, is that, because he grew up also speaking English. I'm gonna call French Shane's native language, just because I think so. That's a really cute connection for the two of them to have, and it really emphasizes how close they are. I feel like in the first book they aren't nearly this close, and now they're besties, and I love that for him. I also think it's cute that he's trying to, like, set him up with someone, even though he does have a perfectly amazing boyfriend waiting for him at home. However, it's cute. It's a nice effort that JJ's showing to Shane. It irked me just a little bit when, after JJ's trying to set Shane up with the man, Hayden is aware that he's trying to do that and, like, encourages him to, because he feels like Shane can do better than Ilya. Let's get this straight. Actually, I'm not gonna say that because I feel like that's gonna really upset some people, so I'm not gonna say it. However, fuck you. Hayden, for real? Like, that pissed me off, but then he immediately makes it up by saying, you know, Hayden said seriously, even though I give you shit about him, I do hope that I'd be invited if you ever did get married for real. And then he also wants to be the officiant. Hey, if they get married in this book and Hayden doesn't officiate their wedding, I'm going to be pissed. I need that. You can't just dangle a treat in front of my face and don't expect me to bite your fingers trying to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that in my life. However, I do think a cute alternative would be Shane's mom or dad, because it's, like, cute to signify kind of, like, Ilya's newfound family with Shane's parents, because he doesn't have a family of his own anymore. So I think that would be cute as a second alternative. However, Hayden literally volunteering and wanting to do that for them is so sweet. I love it. Nah, he'll meet the right one someday, Bood said. Boom, head over heels. Won't even know what hit him. Ilya found, after several minutes, that he no longer paying attention and was suddenly overwhelmed with the need to be alone. Again, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the large mirror that stood in the corner, but he didn't think he looked stunning. He thought he looked ridiculous and sad. He'd already met the love of his life, and he was head over heels, and he couldn't tell anyone, and it fucking sucked. He let himself sulk for 20 minutes, then forced himself to stand, adjusted his expression so he looked less miserable, and headed back downstairs. This made me, like, this moment to me really put me in Ilya's shoes. I felt personally suffocated reading how he's describing how lonely he is. Ilya is cripplingly lonely. It's so upsetting, especially being surrounded by his teammates who all have wives and all that stuff. Like, it's going to boil over. It 100% is. He's struggling to almost a point of no return. Something has to happen. Either he gets the help that he needs from therapy or, like, medication, or Shane starts showing the fuck up for him. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. But we'll discuss that a little bit more as we get to the chapters that really fucking upset me. But whatever. Speaking about Shane showing up for Ilya the way that I feel like he should be, he surprises him after the Halloween party. It's so cute. However, he couldn't believe he was here. All night he'd been dying inside, wishing he could have the man he loved at his side, wishing Shane was in his arms, in his lap, in a ridiculous costume, in front of everyone. Shane didn't need any costume pieces to look like a fantasy. He was absolutely beautiful on his knees for Ilya. He was always so beautiful. Ilya's eyes prickled with tears as he watched him, which was weird and alarming. He closed his eyes, hoping Shane hadn't noticed. Ilya felt oddly fragile all night, and the wonderful surprise of Shane being here combined with the fervent way his was being worshipped was too much. His eyes were burning with tears again, which was embarrassing and inappropriate after amazing sex. Ilya watched him go, giving himself a moment to take some deep breaths and try to settle whatever was happening inside him. He stood on his front step for several minutes after staring in the direction the car had gone and shivering in his gym shorts and t-shirt. Then he went inside, closed the door, and burst into tears. When he'd finished crying, some uncertain amount of time later, he felt more exhausted than he ever had after any hockey game. He was crumpled on the floor, slumped against his front door, and standing up seemed like an insurmountable feat. He decided that yes, he should probably get some professional help. Nightmare. Oh my god, it's getting too much. The push and pull between Ilya and Shane's relationship. Ilya is struggling so deeply with his mental health, and Shane really is the only thing that helps him feel any kind of better. But having to basically have Shane just barely within arm's reach, but he can't have him at all, is I think, doing more damage to Ilya's mental state than if he weren't with Shane at all. Is that crazy to say? It's, I don't know. I don't want to, like, relate it to addiction where it's like, the highs with Shane are so high, but then when he doesn't have him, it's almost a withdrawal kind of feeling, and like it's 10 times worse than if it just were to be without him. And I think that is a really interesting approach to their dynamic. It actually is a little scary, Boots. It's a little scary. I'm so actually relieved he's now going to get into therapy, because this is scary where he's going with his mental health. So he definitely needs some professional help. Thank God he's now getting it. Chapter 14. We immediately open with Shane's first therapy session. There we go. Finally getting this ball rolling. He wasn't sure if Dr. was even a good therapist. She just happened to be the only one in Ottawa who spoke Russian, and during their brief phone conversation, she acknowledged that she knew who Ilya was without making it a big deal. That had been a plus. He couldn't remember the last time he'd had a full conversation in his native tongue. He hadn't been in Russia since his father died years ago, and he never talked to his brother anymore. Ottawa didn't have any other Russian players, and he didn't have any Russian friends. The only person he ever spoke Russian to was his friend with former benefits, Svetlana. But she lived in Boston, and they hadn't spoke much since Ilya had moved to Ottawa. He felt bad about that almost every day. He missed her. I am an idiot American, and I don't speak a second language, so I can't personally relate to how he feels about not being able to speak his first language in so long, besides the little snippets of trying to teach Shane how to speak Russian. But I really appreciate that he has this therapist to speak Russian to him now, just so he can have a little bit of a connection to his home country, which he's completely kind of like banished, because obviously it never gave him anything good. Not his family, not support, being very against who he is as a person with his sexuality and stuff. I understand just wanting the littlest possible connection that he could have to, I don't know, maybe a country that he actually kind of misses. It does make me horribly upset that he doesn't talk to Svetlana anymore. I think Ilya has no one in his corner. Absolutely no one. Shane has people, Ilya has no one. That's what's contributing to his loneliness. I feel like if he at least like called Svetlana somewhat frequently, it would help him. She was a great friend to him. Maybe I'm mixing, their relationship in the show versus the relationship in the book. I know they aren't as close in the book as the show portrays them to be, because in the show they're childhood friends. But at least it's someone who knows him and can speak Russian with him, and was a cool person that he could like catch up with. It makes me sad that they don't talk anymore, and it makes me sad that he misses her so much. I just want him to have someone. Like, I just want him to have someone in his corner who can support him through this insane time that he's going through, because he has no one. That the things that used to help weren't helping anymore. That he was worried that this is how it started for his mother. That some days he missed Shane so much it felt like claws were digging into his heart. He needs this. And, I'm just proud of him for going. He needs someone to talk to. He has no one. I can't emphasize how much no one he has. Ilya couldn't possibly guess how many times he'd look at these photos in the years since he'd taken them. He didn't need to cling to these old ones as he once had, as the closest thing he thought he'd ever have to being Shane's boyfriend. He also loved the photos because they reminded him of how he'd felt back then, the overwhelming, inconvenient longing he'd secretly carried for Shane. He'd been an idiot then, and he still was, really, when it came to Shane Hollander. Ilya is such an emotionally connected person. Shane doesn't really show up for Ilya in the way that he needs. And Shane doesn't realize that. Shane's more, logical. He loves affection, obviously, and it comes easy to Shane because Ilya's so emotionally connected that Ilya goes out of his way to do things for Shane, and Shane doesn't really reciprocate those back. Ilya needs that attention. Ilya needs that reassurance, and Shane doesn't ever really give him any. And it makes me sad, because especially in this scene where he's talking about those photos that he held on to so deeply for so long, that he sends them to Shane, and Shane just goes, ugh, my hair. Did you prefer it short? Like, does it look better in those photos? Shane, can we not fucking talk about you? Actually, hey, for 1 second, can we not talk about you and your fuck-ass hair? And just, like, I don't know. Again, Ilya's kind of being really vulnerable and emotional to Shane, and Shane just, like, inherently dismisses it. And I don't fucking like that! He decided to stop at the weird healthy grocery store on his way home. See, like, Ilya's preparing for Shane to stay a couple of days with him because they're getting to see each other by going to the store and making sure that he has food for him that fits into his performance diet. I don't necessarily know if Shane would do that for him. I mean, I think in the previous chapters they talk about, like, Shane just had some, like, healthy lasagna for them to heat up for dinner. It's like, he did that for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ilya goes out of his way to do things for Shane, and Shane just kind of does what's convenient for himself. Chapter 15. The counter was full of fresh vegetables, a box of organic farro, and a bowl of cooked salmon. We are cooking together like we used to. I found a recipe that is okay for you. Shane missed cooking with Ilya and regretted that his nutrition plan made it more difficult. Shane couldn't argue that. Secretly, he'd fucking kill for some crispy chicken smothered in cheese. But garlic bread wasn't important. Winning was important. This is what I'm fucking saying, bro. Like, Ilya planned and put together a romantic night for them. And when has Shane ever done that for Ilya? Like, them watching the documentary. And it shows footage of Shane's crazy injury, which he doesn't remember. But Ilya, it films the whole thing. Right? And you could just see Ilya, like, so concerned, and he's not leaving Shane's side, not even when the paramedics get there, not when his team's surrounding him. Like, he's on the ice just staring at him, watching him, like, and it's just watching his lifeless body on the ice, and it's just like, oh my god, that's so devastating. And Shane not realizing how much trauma Ilya probably holds with that. I mean, like, yes, that's, like, a sad thing to watch, and I feel like for the average person, it wouldn't really affect them too crazy. Like, obviously, like, if I saw my partner on the ice, like that, I'd obviously be very concerned, but I couldn't say that would bring up it wouldn't be, like, a hugely traumatic experience for me, especially because he turned out completely fine, but only because Ilya found his mom's lifeless body when he was a young kid. Does that make this event 12 times harder to read about? I'm sorry that I chose 12. It's just because I saw that. I just said that he was 12 years old, whatever. It's so sad. It's so sad. Them being like, how could anyone not know how in love with each other we were? It's so obvious. It is, you guys. It is. It's just, no, everyone's homophobic. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Ilya knowing that when Shane was, like, kind of awake a little bit, because Shane doesn't remember anything. Shane literally asks, was I awake then, when they're carrying him off in the stretcher? Ilya being like, yes, you were trying to talk to me. Ilya knowing that Shane was calling out for him. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nightmare. Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Oh my god. This scene of them watching the documentary together is just so sad. It's like no fucking wonder. Ilya literally didn't want to watch it, and he told Shane multiple times that he didn't want to watch it. And Shane was like, no, I want to watch it. I want to watch it. Again, Shane prioritizing how he feels over Ilya. But Shane was like, I want to watch it. So they watch it, obviously, because Ilya loves him. And it's like, duh, fucking duh, Shane. That's why the fuck he doesn't want to watch it. Chapter 16. Weird meeting that he has with Crowell about his sexuality. Like, that's such a weird topic of conversation. And he's like saying that it's fine that he's gay, but he doesn't want to be loud about it. That's yucky. Hey, that's fucking yucky. He doesn't want to be loud about it. Because it's not like, he's doing that like weird like Republican thing where it's like, it's fine if they're gay, I just don't want them to shove it down my throat. Like, them existing is not shoving it down your throat. You clearly are asking for something to be shoved down your throat, and that is an issue you need to handle on your own. Okay? That's something you need to figure out between you and God. So it's like, it feels like that. It's like, are you really supportive, or are you just being paid to say that so that you don't ruin hockey for everyone? He literally was like, oh, I love Scott Hunter, but we want to prevent one of those. One of what? What the fuck are you talking about? No, ew. Like kissing your boyfriend on TV. Right, I mean, obviously I'm not going to do either of those things. Obviously. Ilya said it bitterly, but Shane didn't seem to notice. Ilya's jaw clenched. He knew all too well Shane had no intention of going public about their relationship, but if there had been even a chance, Crowell had crushed it. Ilya does not want to hide anymore. He kind of acts a little bit in his conversation with people that he's okay, conversation with people, his therapist, because what people is he having conversations about his relationship with Shane about? No one. Who is he talking to about his relationship with Shane as support? Crazy. That doesn't sound even. He has more support than you do in this. Ilya knew that. Of course it had occurred to him. Sometimes he was even angry about it. I know. Who would you tell if you could? Everyone. Ilya would tell the whole world if he could. It makes me angry. It makes me so angry. Shane makes me so upset in this book. Come on, not without the aspect of Ilya not telling Shane how he's feeling, Shane doesn't show up for him in any way. Shane does not go out of his way to make Ilya feel supported and loved the way that Ilya does. He does nothing. He does nothing for Ilya. Ilya does everything for Shane, and I mean everything. And what does he get back? Like, seriously, what is he getting back in return? Sometimes I feel like I might scream. It's so hard keeping this secret. I love hockey, and I deserve to have the career I want for as long as I want it. I've earned that. But if I had to choose, I'd choose him. Well, that was the big question. Ilya thought that was what Shane wanted, but he was also pretty sure Shane was happy to hide until they were both retired. That is the big money maker. That is our point of contention, ladies and gentlemen. Shane is okay to hide for basically the rest of their lives, and Ilya doesn't want that. Fuck, bro, it's oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say more about it because it's just upsetting. It's just upsetting. It's pissing me off. Shane is pissing me off. Chapter 17. I don't really have any notes on this chapter. Besides, Troy is a new team member on Ottawa, which is, because I think the book after The Long Game is Role Model, which features Harris, and Troy is his love interest, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm 100% sure they both admit to having crushes on each other to Ilya in this book, and they just don't get together, which I think is insane. I wonder what the dynamic in their book is like, because we kind of get a hint that Troy's not close with his family, and Ilya relates to him in that way, so I wonder, what their point of contention, the reason they can't be together kind of thing is. But there's only one quote that I would like to read. Everything is someday. I am tired of waiting for someday. Oh, now guess what? I'm pissed. Chapter 18. I will never fucking forgive you if you get lung cancer and die. Ilya watched another cloud of smoke disappear into the night sky. I know, sweetheart. He replied silently. I know. He imagined Shane would be similarly unforgiving if Ilya took his own life. Not that Ilya ever would, unless he couldn't help it. What? Why would you say that? I'm like tearing up just rereading that. Why would you say that to me? Why would you say that to me? Oh my god. I cannot wait though. I love Ilya. They don't really use pet names for each other, but when they do, Ilya calls Shane sweetheart. I cannot wait to hear Connor's story call Hudson William sweetheart. I can't wait. Oh my god. I know, sweetheart. I know. What do we think of my Russian accent? It's good, huh? It's good. Maybe I should play Ilya in the new season. Oh my god, Heated Rivalry Yuri version. I'm Ilya. I know, sweetheart. The only other thing to mention, or I want to mention, about this chapter is he is always the first one to support people, or to try and cheer someone up, or to talk to someone and be there for someone. Like, he is the first one to volunteer to do that. And just the way he comforts Troy, even though he made a bad decision about getting drunk before a game, like, and relating to him, so hopefully he doesn't feel as lonely as Ilya does. It's just the heart Ilya has is so precious, and that's why it pisses me off so much the way Shane is acting in this book, because it's like Ilya's heart is so big for everyone, and he doesn't have anyone for that in return. Chapter 19, I don't have any notes. Chapter 20, again, the only thing that really happens in this chapter is sex. However, there are a couple of quotes that I do want to talk about. His eyes were dancing with amusement and possibly simple, unchecked joy, which made Shane realize it had been a long time since he'd seen Ilya looking this happy. Why do you have sexy mood lighting in your gym? You have it in yours. Yeah, for yoga and meditation, 2 things you don't do. But you do them. So I have lights that dim for you. Did you like my Russian? How'd that make you feel? Take a shower, Hollander. I will make breakfast. What about? Shane stood and gestured to the very obvious tent in Ilya's shorts. Later, Ilya smiled. We have all day. I'm kidding. I will make your gross protein shake. It's not gross, Shane lied. Go shower. I'm pointing these little tiny bits out to really emphasize my point that Ilya does everything for Shane, and Shane does nothing in return. Shane literally makes a note to himself that he realized he hasn't seen Ilya this happy in a long time. And that's not a little bit more concerning? Besides maybe the one time Shane lends out a little hand to Ilya being like, hey, like, you could talk to me, like, if you're feeling upset, like, we can get you into therapy. And of course, Ilya, like, shuts him down, sure, but Shane just doesn't try anymore after that. He uses that as kind of like a basis to just not try anymore. Hey, that's crazy. Like, besides that, Shane does nothing for Ilya. And it's like, he literally says he hasn't seen him that happy in a long time, and he's not concerned about it. It's sickening. It's actually fucking sickening. Their dynamic, it's so uneven, it's so unfair. Their relationship's so unfair, and Shane doesn't care. Shane literally doesn't care. Which obviously it's because he's benefiting. He's benefiting from Ilya being miserable. I'm gonna fucking say it. Shane benefits from Ilya being miserable. Chapter 21. This is where some shit kind of starts to go down. Something crazy kind of starts happening. Shane, she repeated, seems very comfortable in his life, whereas you have made a lot of changes for him. He isn't demanding. He didn't ask me to sell the cars or stop going out. He wants me to be happy. Does he know you're not? Isn't that why I'm here? Ilya asked with a hint of irritation. So I don't have to burden him with this? I thought I could talk to you and fix myself so I could be good enough for him. Okay, a lot to unpack here. I love Galina. She is the viewer basically. She is telling Ilya, like, what he needs to hear, what is actually happening. I would want to say these things to Ilya if I had the chance. Shane is a little bit, hey, I'm going to say it, sorry if it upsets you. I am an Ilya girl at heart. If I had to choose between the two of them, I've always been team Ilya. But obviously I don't want to choose between the two of them. It's not, this isn't a Twilight situation between Team Jacob and Team Edward, but it's just, I resonate with Ilya more. So he's always been mine between like the two of them. I think everyone in the fandom kind of like picks a side more or less. I am an Ilya kind of guy, okay? So I'm going to say it, and I'm sorry if it hurts you Hollander fans, but it just needs to be out there. Because it's fact. Shane is a little low-key manipulative. He doesn't mean to be. He doesn't mean to be that way, but the way that he talks to Ilya and about their situation low-key controls and manipulates Ilya. If Shane mentions that he doesn't like something, just like offhandedly between their conversations, Ilya won't do it or won't interact with that person, like, or will hear Shane's voice in his head. Like, it's a little like, can we think before we speak, maybe? Is it that hard to do? I do want to give a little bit of grace. I know Shane is canonically on the spectrum. Wait, is he canonically on the spectrum? I feel like I remember reading something like that, but I'm just gonna double check. Author Rachel Reed confirmed that Shane is on the spectrum, a trait she leaned into even more during The Long Game in its visual adaptation. Oh, okay. Actor Hudson Williams purposely approaches Shane's role with his neurodivergent traits in mind, focusing on his internal experiences rather than stereotypes. Hudson Williams told The Hollywood Reporter that he was aware of Shane's autism from the start and modeled his portrayal after his father, who is on the autism spectrum. I took a huge page out of living my life with him, Williams said. That is so... Nothing about this series isn't perfect. It's like, as upset as I get with Shane and like some things that happen in the book, it's because it's so good. That's like the thing. The writing is so good, it's making me upset, like actually really upset about things that are happening without taking me out of the series. You can do something bad, like write something in a horrible way that removes people from like the immersion that will make them upset. However, I am perfectly immersed in the story. What is happening in the story is making me upset, and that's because it is written so well in the way that it is. Nothing about this series isn't perfection. I actually have 0 notes about it. Troy and Ilya come out to each other. That's a fucking win. Ilya needs someone to talk to about things. I am very interested in Troy's character. I think he's going to be a really great asset for Ilya to have, especially on Ottawa, to have a teammate and a player and a friend that he can talk to. Not completely openly, obviously Troy doesn't know about him and Shane, but he almost guesses it. When Ilya comes out to Troy, he almost guesses that he's with Shane. Ooh, guys, it's a little obvious, but we all know that. I'm so happy for him to have at least someone else besides his therapist who's paid to care, to talk to. Shane kind of stomps all over it! Shane stomps all over it. Getting mad that Ilya came out to Troy because he's concerned about their secret. And Ilya confides in him, that he just wants to tell someone. And Shane goes, all right, Shane didn't know that this had been weighing on Ilya, and that made him feel like a shitty boyfriend. If the boot fits. And then, Shane gets jealous over Ilya having a gay teammate on his team. Oh my god. Shane, can we please stop thinking about ourselves when Ilya is talking to you? That's why he's not... Oh, I'm getting angry. That's why Shane's not, hearing feeling social cues and, understanding when Ilya's being very upset about things, or literally blatantly saying that these things are upsetting, or his body language and stuff like that, because Shane's so concerned about himself. Shane is too concerned about himself and what he looks like and what he perceives and how he plays hockey and blah blah blah. He's not leaving room for Ilya in their relationship. It's Shane, always. And so Ilya's literally talking to him about how it felt nice to at least have someone in his personal life know about his sexuality, and Shane is getting jealous instead. That I have almost no words to express how I'm feeling about it, because it is just upsetting. Like, why? Think, please. And this is where, like I said, it's all going to come to a breaking point. And again, this is a little bit on Ilya's fault. I understand that. When you are holding something in, Ilya not talking to Shane about how he feels about being alone and not being able to tell anyone in his own personal life to support him about their relationship, he will start resenting Shane and building up those feelings, because he feels like things need to change, but Shane doesn't know things need to change, so now he's blaming him for not changing those things that he's unaware about. So he does blow up on Shane, being like, oh, only you get to tell your friends, right? And then he, hangs up on them, and they don't talk. Was that the right way to go about that? No. Do I understand why he's feeling that way? Yes. Do I feel like it is a little bit more of Shane's responsibility to understand why Ilya feels that way? Yes. And it gets bigger. It gets bigger than this. Real quick, just cute side note. Scott bought the Kingfisher, the bar that Kip hangs out in. That means the world to me. It really does. Wow. That just put the light back in my eyes for a second here. Maybe Ilya shouldn't have told Shane. Jesus. Ilya hadn't even told Shane that Troy had almost guessed that he and Shane were a couple. It was alarming how quickly Troy had started to put the pieces together in his head once Ilya had told him he was bisexual. If Shane knew about that, he'd probably lose his shit completely. And that's what I'm saying about, the slightly manipulative nature and controlling nature of their relationship between Shane and Ilya, because Ilya, now, to protect his own peace, feels like he shouldn't have told Shane. And that's not a good thing to feel about your relationship. You are supposed to want to be honest and share your life with your partner. However, instead, so that Ilya doesn't get dug deeper into this hole that he's already in, he wishes he almost didn't tell Shane. And he already, knows how Shane would have reacted if he had told about Troy guessing their relationship. And how upset Shane would have been about that. And so he has to, keep that to himself. He now has to hide and, shrink himself to not upset Shane. Because then it will be even worse for Ilya. And that is a big no-no. That is a big no-no for relationship dynamics. We don't want to do that. And then whatever, Shane texts him a cute apology for their fight, which I think honestly was good. He, takes responsibility and says that he's glad that he told Troy and has someone to talk to, because Shane's not abusive. Shane's not manipulative on purpose. And he's not controlling on purpose. Shane genuinely loves and cares for Ilya. It's just he doesn't ever show it. And so it was a nice, apology. Chapter 22. There were things Shane suspected that Ilya wasn't telling him, which made Shane anxious and a bit angry. Why would Ilya keep anything from Shane? He thought that they were beyond that. Saying you're beyond that, I think, is a crazy thing to say. I don't it's... I'm not trying to just be a Shane shitter, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just trying to it's a lot. There's so many layers. I think that's their gifts to each other just are a really great point on how their dynamic works in general. Too weird? I don't think so. The dismissal, though expected, irritated Ilya. No, not irritated. Irritated was too small of a word. It infuriated him. What isn't wrong? It means I have a boyfriend who doesn't want anyone to know I'm his boyfriend. We are not on the same anything. No, I don't tell anyone about our relationship. You tell Hayden and Jackie and Rose and your parents and who the fuck else knows. I have no one, Ilya said. No one I could talk to about us. It's not easy for me either, you know, Shane said, clearly angry now. We're both hiding. We both made sacrifices. Ilya spun around. What sacrifices, Shane? What have you given up? Seriously, if we get outed, our fucking careers might be over. Everything I care about. Gone. Everything, Ilya said flatly. Shane rolled his eyes. Not everything, but hockey is pretty fucking important to me. No shit. Oh, fuck you. Sorry, I still want to win cups instead of smoking weed with my teammates between losses. I'm just gonna take a quick pause here to address how fucking insane it is to say that to someone's face, not only someone, but your partner. Why would, it's one of those things where it's like, you can obviously talk it out and, you know, forgive and forget and move on. Those are one of those things that if it were said to me, if I was Ilya in this situation, I would never forget it. Ever. This would be in my mind all the time. It's almost like unforgivable, in my opinion. That's why it's so important to think before you speak, because once you say something, you can't fucking take it back. No matter how much you'd be like, oh, that's not what I meant. I was just angry in the moment. Like, I didn't mean to say it. You did. You did. With your full chest to my face, said that to me. And so it's like, I just can't say anything.
I'm literally eating dinner in my bed right now, reading. I actually cannot fucking believe what Shane is doing in this book. Shane is pissing me the fuck off. Like, oh my god, Shane is pissing me the fuck off. Holy shit. Page 239. Page 239. What the fuck? I actually cannot believe what is happening right now. Why the fuck would Shane say that to him? Actually.
You wouldn't even choose me, would you? Ilya said, if it was between me and hockey. Of course I would, Shane said, though not as confidently as Ilya would have liked. Would you? Shane tilted his head up defiantly. Would you choose me? Ilya let the question hang in the air, his whole body trembling with rage. He couldn't believe Shane would even ask him that, after everything. I don't want to look at you right now. I don't want to talk to you. Go home. Would you choose me? Ilya didn't want to fight. He was exhausted and miserable, and his boyfriend was breaking his fucking heart. Quietly, in a voice that couldn't disguise his pain, he said, I already chose you, Hollander. Go home, please. Insert my real-time reactions here.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Really, guys? In front of my burrito bowl. Oh my god. I can't take this. I have no words. I'm like truly like.
Of course I don't like them to fight, but I'm just glad Ilya fucking said it, you know? And Shane loves to do this thing where he waits for things to get really, really bad before he decides to like listen and learn. Shane has to learn it the hard way. Through everything. That's always how it has to go for him. Shane will not understand unless it gets so bad to the point where he's forced to understand. Then he'll be like, oh yeah, like maybe. Chapter 23. Yippee! He'd been so consumed by a whirling storm of anger, shock, fear, and shame. He should have stayed and fought for himself. Fought for yourself? Of course that's the first thing you think of. Of course that's the first thing you think of is, I should have, stood up for myself. When my boyfriend is coming to me and telling me that he's upset by things that I'm doing and saying, I should have stood up for myself. Obviously he had fucked something up. He hadn't even been paying attention to Ilya or to what Ilya had given up for him, and now he realized that Ilya had given up a whole fucking lot for Shane. For them. Of course he resented Shane. Ilya had left his home country, his family, even if only a brother he hated remained, his team, his friends in Boston, his entire fucking life really. He changed everything, while Shane was comfortable in Montreal. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like, thank God Shane's not an entire dimwit, and he is now finally, the hard way, understanding, God, their entire relationship was about Ilya fitting into Shane's life as easily as possible. Ilya's Instagram. Oh my God. Again, Ilya has just always been trying to cling to whatever he can. Like, clawing at the walls. The walls are shrinking in on Ilya constantly. He's being enclosed and he's just like crawling out the best he can, just grabbing anything that he can to help himself feel comforted and supported, because he's not getting that from anyone, not even Shane. He's not getting that from anyone. His Instagram, Shane realized that most of Ilya's posts were, in a weird cryptic ways, about Shane. His entire account was like a secret diary of their relationship, full of inside jokes and little references that only Shane would understand. And Shane hadn't even bothered to look at it before. Not really. How could Shane have ever doubted for a second how fiercely Ilya loved him? Ilya's therapy session is really sad. Ilya didn't want drugs other than painkillers that were absolutely necessary. He avoided pills. Pills could be used as a weapon. Some days, I think I'll scream or die if I have to keep this secret any longer. Chapter 24, Ottawa wins their first game, thank God. They describe how, having Troy on the line, so now it's Troy, Bood, and Ilya on one line together, and they're finally starting to connect and understand how each other plays so that they can kind of mesh together as a front line. I am so excited. I hope this means that they're going to start winning more games, because Ilya needs something. And so I'm really fucking glad that they won their first game. And he realizes that he feels genuinely happy for the first time in a long time. And he's just trying to soak in that feeling because he missed feeling happy. And I'm just glad that he has a little bit of something, a little shred of hope in this time where him and his relationship, which is the only thing that he has, just kind of like blew up in his face a little bit. And then the plane almost crashes. Listen, I'm going to read my quotes that I like, and then I'm going to talk about the plane. But the plane was on fire, and Ilya didn't have time to think. He wrote what was in his terrified heart. You are the best thing in my life. I love you always, maybe from the first time I saw you. I am only thinking about you right now, a million memories. Thank you for those. Whatever happens, I am with you, safe in your heart. I believe it. And maybe he'd see his mother again soon. That was a nice thought. He prayed quietly, with no real structure, to please not let this plane crash, because Ilya had wasted so much fucking time hiding how much he loved Shane from the world, from Shane, from himself. He needed more time. He needed to love Shane properly. The pilots had managed to land the plane on the actual runway, safe and sound. Thank you, Ilya said, gazing at the ceiling of the plane. I won't waste it. Shane reread the messages from Ilya again. Holy shit, those were meant to be his last words. Anger flared through Shane's body, hot and sudden. They had lots of reasons to keep their relationship a secret, but those reasons seemed extremely unimportant now. What if Ilya had died? What if he had fucking died? Shane would have died too, alone and secretly for the rest of his life. Sad. Horribly sad, However, I do personally, and this is my opinion, please tell me how you feel about that. I feel like the plane almost crashing is kind of a MacGuffin, in a way. I don't know, planes don't really do that. The technology for planes and all that stuff is just so high, planes don't crash a lot. Yes, it happens. Yes, things go wrong. I understand that. However, the chances of that happening to Ilya are so fucking little. Planes just don't really ever have issues like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? It feels like that almost took me out of it a little bit. Like, when I was reading this, it almost made me giggle. Like, it felt a little silly to me. And of course, like, I'm calling it a MacGuffin because, of course, this is kind of what snaps Shane back into reality, to kind of get over his fear of them being outed and to really realize how much it doesn't matter them trying to hide their relationship the way they are. And again, like, Shane needs things to go to the extreme before he learns and listens. So it's like the plane needed to almost crash. Ilya needed to almost die for Shane to be like, we just shouldn't hide anymore. It's not worth it. Like, this needed to happen for Shane to have that 180 kind of realization. And it feels a little silly to me. Like, seriously, like, we had to take it there for Shane to kind of get at them with thick fucking skull. Like, it's a little silly. It's a little silly to me. Sad, you know, it made me cry. Okay, it made me cry. But it just makes me giggle. Okay? I think it's a little silly. Chapter 25, our last chapter for this fucking meeting, and it's a big one. It's a fucking big one. He was so fucking tired of lying. He could be grieving right now. If that plane had crashed, JJ would be sitting in Shane's hotel room right now watching him completely fall apart. There would have been no way Shane could have hidden his agony. Shane wanted to haul the door back open and tell JJ that the other side was a life together with Ilya, that there was no unrequited crush, that he was so fucking in love with Ilya it felt like his heart would burst sometimes, and that Ilya felt the same way about Shane. Except he did know. He knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted to reach the other side. He wanted that life together, not in 10 years, but now, because 10 years suddenly seemed like an impossible wait. There's nothing in my life that matters to me more than you, Ilya. I choose you, Ilya. I promise I will always, always choose you. Will you marry me? Shane Hollander was going to be his husband. I was thinking summer, Shane said. Summer for what? Shane lifted his head and met Ilya's gaze. For everything. Coming out, going public, getting married. Ilya's heart flipped. Yes? Yeah. I know it's going to be a shit show, but I'm tired of being scared of being found out. I want to tell people on our own terms. I think I can handle anything that happens as long as going public is a choice that we make ourselves together. That is what I want, Ilya agreed. We tell people ourselves together. Holy shit. Holy shit, they're going to get married! And Shane was the one to propose. I love that. I love when bottoms are the ones to propose to their tops. It feels so sweet and like, aww. But I'm just really excited and scared because now we have to know, okay? We have this much left of the book, the last third, the last act, and they need to come out and get married. And reap the consequences. Ew, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but reap the consequences of what that means for them. And I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm stressed out. And they still need to have all those conversations. You know, Shane just kind of jumped to proposing, which is fine. But they do still need to have full, deep conversations about what Ilya said and came out to Shane about. And, you know, now really figuring out where actually they're going to go from here. It's not no more like someday or when we get there. There is now. Now is happening now. They've decided that together. So what does that look like? I'm fucking nervous. I'm so nervous, but I'm excited. I need them to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been too much for too long, and I'm finally excited, like, for them to just rip off this Band-Aid. I can't wait for us to get there. Next meeting will literally be the last meeting for our first book together, which is exciting and cute. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm nervous. I don't know. Well, that is going to be the end of our second meeting for the long game. Tell me all your thoughts. I need to know. Tell me if you disagreed with me on anything, if you agree with me on anything, how you feel, what you're thinking. if any of the parts made you cry. Just tell me everything, your thoughts, all of it. I want to know. I will read them and respond. I want to know. Please tell me. The only other thing I want to say before we go is I think the next book I want us to read is going to be the Song of Achilles. I've heard a lot of great things about that book and it being really devastating. Yay! And I really wanted to read it. I know it's a highly regarded book and it's supposed to be really, really good. So, I'm thinking that is going to be our next book to read. Let me know how you feel about that, if you agree or disagree. And if I don't hear anything, that's going to be the next book we're going to read. I just wanted to let you know with a little bit of ahead of time so that you can kind of get the sorts together, whether or not you're going to purchase the book physically on a tablet, do the audiobook, whatever. I just wanted you to be prepared that that's going to be our next book after the long game. Okay, let me know your thoughts on everything, please. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming back for the long game, Act 2. I will see you in Act 3 next week. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!